this beat video a couple weeks ago, people seem to really like it. And one reoccurring comment I keep getting on lots of these different beat videos is, how do I listen to this? When are you gonna put this on Spotify? When are you gonna put this on Apple Music? And keeping up a steady flow of releases has been a little bit of a challenge for me lately. So I've been thinking about it and I decided to put together a list of 5 steps to finish and release more music. These are actually tips that I'm gonna start applying for myself because I wanna be in the habit of releasing more music, and I figured I'd also share them with you. Now today's video is gonna be sponsored by Distrokid, who actually plays a huge role in me releasing my music. They've been my distributor well before they ever offered to sponsor a video, and what Distrokid is the service I use to release my music on major streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music and Tidal, and now you can even release music on TikTok, which I know is huge. And one of the major differences between Distrokid and a lot of other music distributors is you don't pay per release. So I don't have to think about spending money every single time I want to release a track. I just pay an annual fee and I can release as much music as I want. So this basically makes it just as easy as if you were going to upload a track to SoundCloud or upload a video to YouTube. Once you have your subscription, you can release as much music as you want. But we're going to talk more about Distrokid later. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is TAETRO, your electronic music mentor. Alright, so my first tip has to do with limitations. I know that limitations can sort of sound like a bad thing, but in the case of creating music or really creating any type of art, they can actually be used to make you much more productive. For instance, when I'm just starting to make a beat, I have a huge sample library. If I scroll through here, you'll see that it's just seemingly endless. And not only that, but I have a Splice subscription, which means I have access to thousands, millions of samples, however many samples are on Splice. So one way I've been able to finish more music is by really limiting myself to using only one sample pack at a time. This stops me from constantly digging for the right sound and allows me to just dig into a single pack and use whatever is there. And that's what I did for this track. This track is built completely off of the Sample Star Lo-Fi and Chill Study Beat pack. I got it from ADSR. And it's filled with, a bunch of kits. So even though we're talking about limitations, look at how many samples are just in this one pack. So even limiting myself within this pack gives me plenty of options and makes it so I really only have one place to look. The next step is probably something that plagues a lot of Ableton users. You have to break out of the loop. So in working in Ableton Live's session view, I like to start by using this as my, musical sketch pad or my notebook. So I come up with these little individual loops here and I try to get them all sounding good together. And you can see that this track is comprised of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unique musical ideas, plus 2 audio loops. But once I have these musical ideas down and looping, I'm literally just stuck in a loop. We gotta break out of that. And the way we do that is by starting to arrange, and this is universal to any DAW that has a loop workflow and an arrangement workflow. You wanna get these loops onto a timeline, because right now they're just looping infinitely. It's not really a whole track. So in Ableton Live specifically, if I hit tab, we've got the arrangement view. And you can see that what I've done is taken all of these loops and put them onto the timeline. This allows me to actually start building a beginning, a middle, and an end. And my biggest advice to you would be do not leave a session with just loops, or you'll end up with a bunch of tracks that never really left that looping stage, because it always seems more fun to create new loops and new musical ideas where the real work, if you want to release more music, is done in the arrangement phase. So if you're sitting down for a session and you're making music, yes, use that musical sketchpad approach and build up your loops, but in that same sitting, put it all onto your timeline and start building an actual track with a real structure. Once we've broken out of the loop and begun to arrange our track, I like to add what I call bells and whistles. This is a phrase I think I learned from deadmau5, but what I mean by bells and whistles are things like risers or transitions, or even something as simple as field recordings. Adding this field recording into either the beginning or the end or both of the track really adds a nice ambiance that without it, the track loses a little bit of character. And let's add in the field recordings. It's just a lot more atmospheric. Now, right there, what you might have heard is the next thing that I would consider a bell or a whistle. It's a transition sound. So sometimes these are in the form of risers, white noise. Here in this track, I actually used the combination of a breath sound and this cigarette inhale sample. Don't smoke, it's bad for you. And what those do is help us bridge between different sections of the song, and they make going from one section to another that much more interesting. They allow the listener to know, okay, something's about to change. This is a lot more interesting than if we just didn't have these and we just kept building up with loops. Sure, the beat dropped and it's interesting and all, but add in these little bells and whistles, these little transition sounds. Just adds a little bit more character. So after you've arranged your track in a way that you like and you've added in some bells and whistles, it's time to start exporting and doing some mix checks. So I'm not a mix engineer by any means, I'm not a mastering engineer at all, but I have a process of revising tracks so that I can actually get them done. And what it comes down to is I'll export a track, upload it to a Google Drive folder, and then listen to it on a number of different devices or speakers. So at my disposal, I have studio monitors, some decent headphones, my Apple AirPods, a JBL Bluetooth speaker, and my car. And my main goal in this step is to get a mix that sounds good across all these different devices, because as you can imagine, people listening to your music, you can't control the environment they're listening to it in. But with the different listening devices that I just laid out for you, if it sounds good across all those, you can imagine that it's going to sound good on most systems. So I go back and forth, listening on all these different systems, revising the mix, changing things accordingly, and once I have a mix that I'm satisfied with, that sounds good across all those speakers, I'm ready to go. And step 5 is to actually release your music. And that's where Distrokid comes in. So within my Distrokid account, you can see I have all my releases here and what platform they are all on. So you can see even my latest release is on TikTok, which is great. And now it's time to upload our track. I can choose what platforms to distribute it on, and then I type in all the information that has to do with the release. Usually to be safe, you want to leave at least a week, if not longer, between the day you upload the track and the day you want it released. So we're going to go ahead and release this track on July 6th. Now that's a week and a day, so hopefully that's enough time. Let me know in the comments if you go into your favorite streaming platform and if the track is there by July 6th. We'll just have it be, sure, 12 a.m. Sure, people can pre-order it. Record label, unsigned. I made the album art on my phone. I'm just going to airdrop it to myself right now. And let's go ahead and upload that. Decided to title this track Unwind, and let's go ahead and upload the file. Now my track doesn't contain any lyrics, obviously it's just a beat, but you can actually upload synced lyrics with Distrokid, which is really cool for all you songwriters out there. I can now add this to Instagram stories, so check that box, that's totally free. And there's lots of cool other options there, but I think we're done. And it was that easy. This track is uploaded. Let's choose tomorrow for our pre-order date. And now we're done. Verifying, it's called upload. Like I said, it's that easy. And Distrokid is gonna give me a really cool hyperfollow link that people can use to pre-save the track or to follow me on Spotify, things like that. I also use Distrokid to get verified on Spotify, which is really cool. Done, that was easy, wasn't it? Yes. It's warning me that my release date is cutting it close, but fingers crossed it gets out there for the 6th. You tell me in the comments if it's live wherever you listen to music. Now I've got this really cool pre-save link that people can use to pre-save on Spotify, which you can find in the description down below. And if you thought that this was cool and you want to try out Distrokid for yourself, luckily they have given me a link where you can get 7% off your first year of subscription. And actually I earned $5 commission on every new sign up from this video and using that link. So if you want to A, support the channel, and B, start releasing your own music at a discounted price with a really awesome distribution service, you should use my link in the description down below and sign up for Distrokid today. If you start using any of these tips, I would love to hear about it. Let me know in a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and if you haven't yet, subscribe for more live electronic music performances, tutorials, and content to make you a more productive producer. And of course, go go listen to the new track, Unwind. Should be everywhere you listen to music. Thank you so much for watching. My name is TAETRO, your electronic music mentor. Have a good one.